Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Westgarth Realty Audio Experience.
Ladies and gentlemen, Seb Westgarth here from Westgarth Realty, and welcome back to the podcast. On today's episode, we've got a special guest. We've got our principal and senior property manager, Leanne Westgarth, with us here today. Yesterday, she attended a information session on a program designed to assist tenants who are struggling to find properties, to put them that one step ahead of the rest of the competition when it comes to finding and getting into a rental property. So, Leanne, if you wanted to let us know some of the things you learnt yesterday.
Oh, I actually learned heaps. And I'm really, really pleased at long last there's actually a program for tenants so that tenants actually understand and know what their rights and responsibilities are in tenanted homes. And this particular organisation is called the Tenancy Skills Institute, and yesterday was their official launch. They have had one program already in Toowoomba, but it's their official launch, and now that they just wanted to let everyone know that the tenancy program is now up and running.
So what's involved in this tenancy program? Obviously, they're running events for training tenants. What's actually involved in these training programs?
The tenants firstly have, or even prospective tenants, or if you're about to leave school, say like you're in year 12, you just need to register with the Tenancy Skills Institute, or you can give us a call at Westgarth, that's fine as well, and I can give all the details. The other thing is, whilst we've already had at least one here in Toowoomba, one of the courses run, I'm actually been asking for one to be run out at Oakey, so I just need to organise one there, get some numbers, get some names, and get that all going. They usually like to cap it at around 25 people to attend because it is very hands-on, very personable. The trainers are absolutely excellent. They're really down to earth, and they just want to make sure that you really understand everything that they're telling you about. So some of the things that, they talk about the 4 key things, which is communication, rights and responsibilities, maintenance, or maintaining the property and cleaning the property, and also about your financials and budgeting. So sometimes I sort of go, yep, they're great, but what they're really telling you as tenants is how things are working behind the scenes, why landlords and agencies sort of think the way they do, and most tenants they sort of go, why do you need to know so much about us? But they go through all the reasons why that is the case, why we need so much information.
You've been in real estate now since 2002, and I'm sure the legislation has changed dramatically since you've been in the industry from 2002 till now. I suppose, what are some of the key things that you still see tenants get wrong that are part of the legislation currently?
Oh, okay. It's a lot of things there. So you're right. Since I did join in 2002 into the real estate industry. Back in 2008, we actually had a major overhaul of the Act. So that is actually often updated through the regulations sector of the Act. Some of the things that are, like, tenants feel that they can say no to people coming to the property. Now, there are laws that sit behind that saying that if we give them the right amount of notice, then they can't say no. Most agencies do like to work, and property managers like to work with their tenants. But that comes back to that communication. Like I said to you before, they touch on the generic words of communication, rights and responsibilities and things like that. But what they'll also be talking about is why we do certain things.
So they sort of really go into sort of the back end of things and sort of refer to the Act and really sort of clarify what the responsibilities and rights of a landlord and a property manager and a tenant are, so that everybody's all on the same page.
That's exactly what it is, because it's not just a tenancy involved here. We've got landlords, we've got sometimes an agency, but more importantly, we've got a building which is worth usually at least a couple of $100,000 plus
Yep. And you used an analogy before we started, which was talking about if you were to own a Lamborghini, which is going to be a couple $100,000, before you went and handed over the keys to someone to take that car for a spin, there'd be a whole heap of things that you'd want to check prior to doing that. And it's much the same for a landlord handing over keys to a tenant for their rental property. That's why we do those background checks, and that's why we're looking at what your previous rental history is and your current financial situation. And we were discussing before we started that that's part of the communication. Like if a tenant's circumstances change, you might have had a job when you went in, and then for whatever reason you now no longer have a job, so you're experiencing financial hardship. Part of that communication process is obviously having a chat to us and letting us know that what your current situation is. Communication here isn't so much about how to speak to people, because we all know how to do that, but it's more about communicating your current stance in the situation with renting that particular property.
Yep, that would be exactly right. Everyone has events that happen in their life that change. Sometimes it completely changes their world and turns it upside down. Sometimes it's just a blip in the road, but sometimes even the blips can cause stress. And we'll most probably do another podcast, Seb, I think, on where you can go to get help from other agencies, such as Rent Connect, which is also a really great organisation, so we can talk about that in the next one, because that's also quite a lengthy one. But coming back to handing over the keys. I mean, if you, as a tenant, if you did own a Lamborghini and a perfect stranger wanted to drive your Lamborghini for the next 12 months, just like you want to rent a home from them for 12 months, this owner who they've never seen before is about to hand over keys to something that's going to, has a value of $200,000 plus, and they do want to know whether you've had a license before, as in for a car, whether you've had a license before, whether you've driven a car before, do you know how to look after a car, do you know what to do if you had an accident in a car? And so they're all the things that, if you could think of it, even for a landlord, they just want to know who are they putting in their home, what experience do they have in caring for a home and knowing how to pay their rent and paying it on time. Some of the small things, when you were saying back further about what are some of the things that tenants don't do that they should do. I had an incident once when there was a little wet patch on the roof, and it was the size of about a 20-cent piece. By the time it actually got, told to us that something was happening, it was a metre wide, and it ended up costing thousands of dollars. So it comes also back to some of the things that sit behind property management that obviously the Tenancy Skills Institute will go through, is about the risk and insurance. And if an insurance company sort of sees this massive big wet patch and they sort of go, well, how long did someone know about this? And why wasn't it sort of brought to someone's attention before it ended up being thousands of dollars when it could have only been a couple of $100s? So this is where all of this risk and insurance comes into play as well.
Yep. So, I mean, obviously, this course has been put together on the back of information provided to this institute from other property managers, which is why communication is at the top of the list there. Obviously, a lot of these other things can be explained or avoided or prepared for through communication, which is why it's on the top of the list. Like you mentioned, you are looking to run another one or one of these training programs in Oakey. We have had one in Toowoomba, and there will be more. If you do want more information on those, feel free to call our office, and we can organise that for you and give you more information on when the next one's happening and all that sort of stuff as well. So, Leanne, thanks for popping in today, and no doubt we'll hear from you again very, very soon.
Yes, that'll be great, and we'll be able to talk a little bit more about what Rent Connect does.